Analyst, Blitz, that was actually an amazing analogy, I have to say. Probably the only person in this entire studio that actually understood that. I don't even think you know what basketball is, do you, Cinderin? I actually can't picture you playing basketball. That would be awkward.
I'm tall.
Yeah, but you're lanky, so
but why would you use a basket as a ball? Like, what's the point? Or do you use the basket for the ball? It's called football because you kick with your feet. It's called handball because you play with your hands, and it's called basketball because you take a basket and play.
It's an American thing. I mean, American football is called football, and there's barely any feet involved.
Hand egg?
Hand egg. Okay, moving on. So CIS Rejects versus NiP. We got a Pudge, as we talked about, aka Brian Scalabrine.
Of course I know basketball. I'm tall. How can you not know basketball if you're tall?
How many baskets have you made in your life is the real question. We
I
got
don't
a level
know,
1 engagement. Limp is going to find the poor Pudge is going to get telekinesed. The Rocket Barrage dealing a decent amount of damage. Limp getting quite low. He's going to use another Rocket Barrage onto Iceberg. And it looks like that's going to be first blood. The poor Brian's, he's brought out too early. That's the issue here. He needs to be brought out at the end of the game to ensure victory. So NiP do get first blood. And with that, actually, what do you think of the lineups? I guess I haven't heard your amazing analysis on the Brian Scalabrine.
I think NiP have a serious lineup. I think CIS Rejects don't have so serious of a lineup. Similar to previous game, actually, but last game they gave us a pretty good fight. So I hope we get to see the rather unusual picks in Death Prophet and Pudge just have a good game, whether they win or lose.
Off-lane Death Prophet. It's the real standard thing from back in the day.
Wait, what?
It's quite odd to say the least.
So they're offlaning that and putting Pudge mid.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they want Pudge to get farm because he's a very item-dependent hero. You know, he needs those items.
You know, Venno could be cliff jungling with Plague Wards right now.
Well, that's
instead
a good
of
point.
being safe lane, and then they could have put Death Prophet safe lane.
They could have done that. He went Gale and Poison Sting, unfortunately for him. He's gonna be versus this. Oh my God. The Iron Shell is doing a ton of damage to him. He's at half HP, forced way back into his lane towards his base.
He does not have a good way of dealing with this until he gets Plague Wards up. If he's not maxing Plague Wards, he's losing this lane super hard.
Yeah. Of course, Plague Wards, do they even consider them piercing damage? I know they're still technically piercing. Do they still call them that? Or do they change that?
It just says physical.
Okay, well, it's still piercing, so it does more damage to actual units in the lane as opposed to heroes or towers or anything like that.
Yep.
Why would they do that? That's actually super confusing for newer players, isn't it? It's kind of counterproductive to what they want to do.
Yeah, it's still a leftover. I don't know if there's going to be, you know, the thing is, when you ask and I answer to that, I'm not even completely sure myself. Like, the way I assess how much damage Plague Wards do is by looking at them hitting, rather than thinking, oh, they're piercing and just doing the math, you know? You just get used to it when you play with and against the hero enough time that you can have an idea of how much they really hurt for, rather than what it says on the skill.
Right.
But yeah, I would agree. If the whole piercing, normal, heavy siege damage still exists, which I do think it does, then it is indeed very confusing. And maybe the abilities that are piercing, but the problem is there's so many of them. Oh, actually, top lane Seal Kid.
Advanced score gets telekinesed. Seal Kid taking a ton of damage. Concoction goes off, deals no damage thanks to the physical immunity. Advanced score on the run. Hansking right behind him. And is there going to be a deny? There is. So Rubik saves the experience. As Goretz is going to continue to right-click Hanskin, who's now finally going to find peace of mind on the other side of the trees.
I think this is the weirdest dual lane off lane I've seen all tournament. And in a very long time, actually.
It's quite odd.
Death Prophet Wyvern. So weird.
Did we see if Era got the bounty, by the way? I guess I didn't really pay attention to that. We can just look at his GPM and just... we can pretty much know from that alone.
He did, but I think he might have skilled Concoction for the level 1-5.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure he did.
That's a mistake right there.
Well,
that's a bug. That looked like a double rocket, double homing missile. Or maybe the cosmetics is just weird. So he does level up homing missile. It's really good against melee, 1v1. What do you think about that in this lane? He's actually leveling it up too. It's level 2.
It's generally very good in mid, because you can just bottle and you just spam it out, harass your opponent. You force them back to the tower every time it's ready.
Does it look like 2 homing missiles to you, or is that just the cosmetic that looks that way?
Yeah, that is really weird, actually.
Reborn.
What was that?
Okay, well, Hook's gonna hit a creep.
Oh, he wanted to farm. That was actually to just get the CS, but he's getting crushed. Pudge can't win this. Well, it's 12-6. It's not that bad for Iceberg.
Well, he does have to walk all the way back to base, so that's going to hurt quite a bit. So we'll see in a couple minutes how that actually affects him. But right now, Venomancer top of the charts. Just kidding. Gyro just overtook him. What do you think about Venno in this game specifically? I mean, we talked about, or Slacks brought up the great point about the pushing, more so lanes for Venomancer, but Death Prophet towers, Tiny eventually towers. You can even toss on towers. I mean, you got a lot of things to work with.
I think it's okay. If the
What's
game,
their go time for pushing?
mech plus at least level 7 in Veno, and then I think you just start slowly. I'm guessing that Death Prophet will roughly be level 6 at that time, but Exorcism level 1 is really weak.
Well,
so
they did buff
maybe
it.
she
It's
needs to
2
get
extra
level 11.
spirits now, right?
It's a bit better.
How much of a difference do you think that actually makes? Is Iceberg's going to take the homing missile? Art's here, though, for support. Hits the avalanche. Iceberg really looking for the hook. He's going to hook his teammate instead. Just wants to make sure he's okay. Doesn't go too deep. So come on now. This is a very important game, in fact. Homing missile again coming.
He was going to rocket barrage you.
Yep.
I just saved you
That
from
actually
the
does a
harassment.
lot of damage. I mean, that's something we almost never see because obviously we don't see gyro solo mid very often, especially against melee heroes. But homing missile does a ton of damage if you level it up.
On level 4, it deals the same damage as Finger of Death almost. Deals more than Laguna Blade. If it travels far enough.
And
So.
it was funny because they were buffing this like every patch not too long ago, right? You can. Oh, I actually completely forgot about this change, which was from like probably a year ago at this point. Have you ever actually seen a homing missile get force staffed? You remember that
Yes.
change?
I've done it myself in a pub game. It was really cool. I think I actually force staffed it through an opponent because it traveled. So like, it went through him and then it went back because it just kind of jumped over into you.
Oh, I
Can
see.
you imagine?
I can imagine.
Was that really advanced? You look super confused.
Can you actually
How is that
imagine?
even possible?
Thank you
Alright,
for
anytime.
imitating me as somebody that has some brain damage. Handscan in the meantime is going to find Art's going to get the fissure off. Arts has the combo, but he's only level 3. He's going to find a homing missile, and I believe this is going to be the death of him one
He
way or
could
another.
toss this shaker to the tower if Wyvern runs back. I'm actually
I'm
surprised
not
they're
going to go any
trying that.
farther. So he's going to take the damage, and
Damn.
I feel like the sound from homing missile does not do it justice when it does this much damage. The call down is going to come into play. Rocket barrage as well. Homing missile still following him. This should be a death, although he could rot himself. Deny. He's going to get it. The auto attack, a bit of a mistake there from Limp.
That was weird.
Arts though wanted to come for moral
Well,
support.
this is a good play from Hanskin if he finds the angle. Very
Nice
nice.
fissure. It's not going to block. Gets the avalanche off.
Arts is dead if he runs
I
too
think-
far.
is
No,
that enough
he's gonna
damage
live,
to
he's
kill
gonna
him?
live.
Okay.
Is that
It's a little bit closer, so the
Low
damage is not
frames.
maxed out.
There's gonna be an invis rune for the gyro, and of course, while all this is happening, the bottom lane, it was funny to see, right? In the start, Darkseer puts a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Since then, Always Wanna Fly has crushed him. He's taking his tower minute 6.
It's an infestation of plague wards.
I am very surprised that Jonas hasn't been cutting the wave bottom more than he has, but his itemization might not allow for it. He has gone boots and stick
Oh
against
my.
the wards, which is, of course, I mean, the stick is great when you're in the lane standing against Veno and getting the charges. But ultimately, what you do want to do is, I think you want to move down here and just cut the wave as much as possible over there and avoid the Veno.
Mhm.
And if Veno comes for you, what's he gonna do? He can gale. You can just surge and run.
I actually have a really random question. I don't know why I thought of this. Because Venomancer is disgusting, so I thought of another disgusting hero, Viper. Why is he not picked? He was nerfed a bit. He got a buff in his agility, but his nerf was Corrosive Skin doesn't go through BKB. Is that a big enough nerf for him never to be picked? I haven't seen him one time. His Van score gonna get blocked off by the fissure. Rocket barrage as well. Homing missile should be enough to finish him off. He dies on the cliff. Very beautiful death. In fact, he's just floating in midair. Good physics.
It's falling down now.
So Viper. Like, why is he not picked? It's kind of strange. I mean, there's so many melee heroes being picked too. It's really good in some cases.
I would agree.
think.
I think he does get picked from time to time. The hero who's more like in Viper's role, if you will, as a lane dominator into a mech carrier that has seen some more play has been Razor for Team Liquid in particular. Maybe he's just the go-to of the
That hero
teams that
just
want to
never
play it,
drops
but-
off, I feel like. It's always there, Razor.
Yeah. Well, I would agree though. Viper is still a good pick in quite a few games. But
Looks like Venomancer's transitioned himself up the top. Already got that tower bot, so just wants to continue the pressure. And Goretz, level 5, not quite level 6 yet. He's about to hit level 6 as Limp and Handscan are going to run right into him. Telekinesis, Rocket Barrage. And he gets saved by the Wyvern just for a little bit. He's going to get hooked by the punch. All defensive plays of the week here
Opa, Iceberg!
for CIS Rejects. He's going to take both call down damage though. Looks like he'll get away with his life.
Man, that was actually a really sick save.
Oh, Fissure, it's not quite in range though.
Then get Iceberg. If
Yeah,
they chase far
Iceberg.
enough, they'll get him eventually.
Well, call down is on cooldown as the homing missile will connect eventually. Rocket Barrage as well. Can he get the deny off this time? Negatory.
Coro from the groin.
Great impression.
Thank you.
God, that's so bad.
No. I actually made that sound more like... I somehow managed to make that sound more like Mr. Bean than Pudge.
I love Mr. Bean.
Yeah. Didn't it sound like... No, it didn't.
No.
But I also didn't try... You know, I don't know.
You know,
how
some people have issues like recognizing how they actually sound when they talk. And I think you might have... it's called a deaf ear, I believe.
And other people just have issues in general, such as Sir Action Slacks. Yeah.
Yep. Always finds his way into our cast now. Thanks, Slacks. Well, Art's level 5.
Slacks gave me that serious look like...
Yeah, he's super mad right now.
You guys are actually stupid this time. I mean, the last few times you were fun, but now...
This
it's just not funny anymore.
Arts is in a lot of trouble. Homing missile
now he's
on its way. He's going to try to deny this tower. He gets the avalanche off. He will deny it. It will cost him his life, however. There's a TP. Venno gets off the ultimate Poison Nova, but that's not going to be enough for a kill unless there's more kills or more heroes to come. They're going to start ticking down, but of course it's not lethal damage. I don't believe he got a Gale off, or did he? Splinter Blast doing a lot of damage.
Here comes Iceberg.
Limping away. Oh, big hook. Iceberg. Stationary target. I can't hit that one, for God's sake. That is an incredible play by Pudge.
He got him.
Got him.
I was going to make a Titanic joke, but I couldn't find one that was good enough. Because it was basically a helicopter, and then it got hooked by an iceberg, so I don't know if it was there. But,
yeah,
you know,
that's quite
at least
good.
You can appreciate that I thought about trying to make a joke, and then ultimately ended up...
failing horribly.
No, ended up explaining the joke that I didn't even make.
Yep. It's okay.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid, actually.
You are forgiven.
Yeah, okay.
A little awkward engagement here, and...
You know what's also awkward?
Walk away. Yes.
Sir Action Slacks.
Thank you, yeah.
Hey!
We need to make sure to bring him up about every minute in this cast. I think that's a requirement from now on.
Shout out to Sir Action.
Well, Era just continuing to farm away. I haven't even checked if... Does he have a bottle right now? Pimp, can you check that? Alright, so he's not going for any bounty. You didn't even click on him. Okay, there he is. He does have a bottle. I don't know if he's been getting the bounty runes or not.
And this homing missile is really weird. Like, is that how it's supposed to look? It's like there's a silhouette of itself on top of it, or above it.
It's like a mirror image of another
Yeah, that's a better way of saying it.
I don't think that's intended, but I could be wrong.
Very
Top
very
lane,
strange.
we have Goretz popping the Exorcism to defend this tier 1 tower and the honor that comes with it. Limp, man, this homing missile is seriously... I would like to see this build a little bit more often. I mean, Gyrocopter, I won't say he's fallen off. He's been less effective than in the last patch. Obviously, he was nerfed, but it wasn't anything significant. But I would love to see him mid a little bit more often.
Yeah, there are some matchups that are really good for him. A lot of melee heroes he can just destroy in lane, but it's not really the meta right now to play melee mid, so...
Which is truly unfortunate.
He doesn't beat very many ranged heroes in lane, especially not the lane dominance. Oh, hook! Iceberg! Found the glove! And will he kill the glove?
Oh, man.
He will.
Alright, well, Callout's going to hit again, and the homing missile finishes him off. It's a 1-for-1 in the end. Goretz, top lane. Oh, my God, the vacuum. Fade Bolt. Everything being used. That's 2 dead. Of course, 1 in this lane. Goretz on the run at the current point in time. He's going to get some TP support from Always Wanna Fly, who has the point boosters. They're going to be rushing the Ags in all likelihood.
Could have, yeah, he can't really track the kill. Darkseer is really nice against Venno in that sense. You just surge away the Gale.
Yep, that's true.
So,
what do you think of, we've seen some builds, like differing builds on Venomancer, but Ags first into probably Blink, I would assume, is semi-standard.
Yeah, I think
what you go
pretty
for?
good here.
Oh, we have the Surge on Seal Kid. Poison Nova being used. It's going to cost him his life. Hook completely misses. Era on the run. Doesn't have Chemical Rage to pop.
Dead.
So he might be dead. And he will go down to Pudge. He's going to get a nice stack on his Flesh Heap. Of course, he hasn't leveled it up, but it is retroactive in the end.
Yep.
I haven't really realized that it's like 400 range. It's actually quite small. He has to be pretty damn close. His Art's going to get a double cooldown, or double call down, I should say. Does a little bit of damage before his inevitable death.
So what was I going to say? Guards is getting really good farm. He has the same CS as the Gyro, and this is a dual lane off-lane Death Prophet with the Wyvern. When I'm saying dual lane off-lane, I'm like, where has Tiny actually been all game? He has 0 assists. I feel like he's been everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Like
that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Shredding is Tiny or something.
Yeah, I've noticed the same thing. I don't know, like he hasn't been in any standard lane, that's for sure. Roaming a bit, but hasn't been too involved. Gets the treads.
Iceberg?
Hook. It's gonna miss. Just need to be on Iceberg watch here.
Yep. Rotting.
He does have Earn, so that's a pretty decently timed Earn. Although he was mid, again, it was against the Gyrocopter who went homing missile, so he got beat, but it's not as bad as it could be. Now, how much gold does he have right now? He could go for I guess Blink or Force Staff would be the next item of choice in all likelihood.
I think Force Staff is most of the time better than Blink on Pudge. It gives you mana that you often need.
Right.
It allows you to use it together with Rot.
Blink middle lane, Avalanche, toss on top of Pudge, who's gonna eat him! Delicious gyrocopter, a little bit too mechanical for my taste, however. Hook's gonna finish him off. And just like that, the gyro is dead. Vacuum top lane, and a big punch from Handskin finishes off the Wyvern. Exorcism is popped. Can they find any kills, CIS Rejects? Oh my god, the Fissure's gonna block him off. And down goes Death Prop. Always want to fly, gonna run away. The Poison, or the Plague Wards are up to defend him. And Era just a little bit too late. He does get surged, but actually he might actually find him if he can.
Oh, that's a good juke. Oh no, he placed a Plague Ward, but gave it away.
Gave it away. He's going to try to TP out, and a really short, unstable concoction is going to be enough to cancel the TP, and will be the death of him as well. Arts, again, he's leveled up quite a bit since we last talked about him. He's going to find Hanskin. Can he get the Avalanche off? It barely clips him into the hook, and death. As we're going to have some counter initiation from NiP. Limp gets Winner's Curse. Era's going to end up stunning himself in all likelihood, unless he can find Arts at the last second. Nope. Not going to happen. TP's out to safety. Pudge is going to take the call. This cooldown on that spell is so low. I feel like we see it every 10 seconds, or every engagement. Iceberg going to get healed up by Wyvern, but it's not going to help.
It does take the missile in the end. Just get frozen. Actually, this time they froze the Iceberg.
Yeah, and actually, he turned into an actual
And then
iceberg.
it got torpedoed by a submarine.
Like, just like Titanic.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. That's the thing they don't want to tell you. It's a conspiracy. It was not an actual iceberg, it was a torpedo.
Yep.
Inside the iceberg. Art's finally starting to get in front. He's going to go for drums, and then... Does he go for Blink or just straight into Ags? Like, what kind of tiny are we going to be seeing here? More times than not, we see the Blink Dagger these days.
Yeah, it's such a weird game. I honestly can't predict what he's going for.
He's going to run right into a triple smoke gank. Gets off the tiny combination, but not going to be nearly enough to kill Limp. Era, in the meantime, gets silenced, gets galed, gets Arctic burned, gets crit swept. The hook's going to hit the TPing target. Era still going to walk away. Finally goes down to the right clicks. Call down coming into play. Iceberg getting healed, but not going to be enough to keep him alive. Wait, what? Fissure blocks off Death Prophet. Takes so much damage from the Avalanche. It's going to clip Always Want to Fly. He was just hovering around this Fissure. Go ahead.
How did Gyro kill Pudge?
He did
wait
some
a
damage.
second. Well, he was frozen and Rocket Barrage was not running, I think. And he died while frozen with Rod on. I thought he was going to deny himself. It would have been a really cool play.
Seal Kid's going to get denied at the last second from Handskin. Nicely done. And Handskin should be able to walk away as Poison Nova's about to run out. A lot of deaths. Who came out on top of that one?
NiP are winning a little bit every single time. The thing is, they're playing an Alchemist, and they only have a 4k gold lead minute 17. So in terms of effectiveness, this hero needs to play from ahead, and yes, he is... Well, he's actually behind his gyrocopter, which is very unusual. Yep. The gyro even being mid, but now...
I mean, Slacks was right this whole time. It's all about the first bounty rune, right? You gotta get that. And you gotta level up greed. You can't just get...
I really think he didn't, but I'm not positive.
Well, yeah, I guess we're not entirely sure. But it's true. Like, the hero is all about momentum, and he's all about snowballing. And just because you're even if you're way ahead in Alchemist, doesn't even mean you're doing that well. No. Because that's intended. Right? I think he's going to get about 500 gold from this, I presume. He's going to take an Avalanche, toss combination at half HP, and of course Chemical Rays is going to come into play. Pops off his own concoction. Hits Arts. Call down as well. Limp gets clipped by the Gale. He's going to have to force his way out. Always Want to Fly, getting chased by the Darkseer, but it's going to end up being a stalemate in the end.
Oh, hook!
Pudge hook!
And that was really optimistic. That was against a Surge Darkseer.
Oh man, Hanskin's going to get caught by that tiny combo again. Crypt Swarm to follow. It's not quite enough for the kill. Can they find? He's going to use Echo Slam. In the end, just drops to his death.
This push mid is, I mean, once again, similar to the last game, CIS Rejects with a very odd draft. They're actually making it work pretty well. They're 9 kills behind.
Now that you've said that, things will crash and burn.
I was like, this is going pretty... this game is now 18 minutes, and it's time for NiP to start owning them 2 team fights in a row. So I just threw it out there.
Well,
so
now that you say that, they'll Always Want to Fly, about to finish his Aghanim Scepter. That is a huge item. Goratz has Yules, uses it on Seal Kid, pops it. Oh, it's doing a lot of damage to Era. Era, who's trying to tank it off for whatever reason. Looks like he might live through the day. No, finally goes down. It's a 1-for-1 as Death Prophet does find his way to the grave. Limp in the meantime, hooked, eaten, and brought to death. A beautiful vacuum wall combination. It's going to be enough for at least one kill. Fable to follow. Poison Oak finally goes off right before his inevitable death. Pudge, hook, not the intended target, but he'll take it. Not quite enough for the kill. Finally, at the last second.
I think that was the intended target. He couldn't kill anyone else.
I thought it was just, and he knew he was going to die. I figured he just threw out a random hook. But
just turn around 180 hook, just whatever. Yep. See if I get anything.
The old 180 hook.
That was pretty smooth.
And again, a 4 for 3. I mean, lots of deaths. Pudge, I don't know how many flesh heaps he got.
I was going to say earlier, Alchemist is probably the worst carry that's considered a carry in the game if you are on even footing with the carry of the opposing team. Like his need for gold is what makes the hero incredible if he gets to free farm, because he gets so fast, and makes him very, very weak if he has a bad game.
Right.
Right now the net worth on Era is 7k. I would say compared to a lot of other carries in terms of raw fighting potential, this would be other carries with 5k. Like that 2,000 extra gold needs to compensate for his hero being really weak. Acid Spray is great, so that's the... It's also the build we used to see in the past on Alchemists when Greed was a bit worse and Chemical Rage was a bit better, was that Alchemists would play more of a fighting build with Acid Spray Concoction, which is his impact in the first 20 minutes of the game most of the time. It's just that combo.
We have the hood on Jonas Fan. If I take my time, I can do it quite easily. So it's going to end up being a pipe, which we don't see that often, but of course, because of the Venomancer, pretty much a must-have item is Limp. He's going to get silence into a Yules, which means he's unsilenced now. He's going to Rocket Barrage, try to run away, takes the Avalanche Toss combination again, not quite enough for the kill. They're going to continue the pressure, another Rocket Barrage, and Surge is going to keep him out of trouble. Looks like he'll live to see another day. Jonas Fan, on the other hand, might not be so lucky. Gets off the wall, only hits one target. Takes the Gale, but of course, like you said, the Surge into the Winner's Curse throw is going to keep him in place. A huge Echo Slam from Handskin ends up netting them 2 kills. Can they continue the pressure? Surge offline, or online very shortly. Always Wanna Fly is going to pop his Poison Nova, going to take a little dinky dink action from Limp, who gets off his call down. Always Wanna Fly is still living through this, takes the Fissure as well. We have some TPing targets to a Poison Nova. They will live.
5 in a row.
Man. Wow. 3 for 1. He's actually really close engagements too.
I can't believe Jonas survived that. Of course, he has the hood reducing the damage and giving him enough regen, and then when he ports to Fountain, the Fountain regen actually necessary to keep him alive there.
Does Venom need to go Veil of Discord before Blink?
No.
Because he's getting off his Poison Nova, and they're barely living.
I think it's just the way these fights are extremely chaotic, right? It's just it needs to be a little bit more structured with how they engage. That fight is totally different if Arts gets the Avalanche Toss combo off. And when he went on the Gyro, he got Avalanche and then he got Toss, but he didn't get the double damage Avalanche. Else he would have killed the Gyro instantly and they win the fight. But it's just he needs to position himself better. They need to go in more together, and then that's in turn going to probably set up Veno a bit better. And that Blink probably saved that fight.
Let's theorycraft this ends up going late game, because of course Battle Fury is now on Alchemist. We've been seeing a lot of Radiance. Battle Fury is probably the secondary choice for most people, but it's still very effective on the hero, especially in the jungle with these Mud Golems, which are basically
a big buff to
they're made for Alchemist. So eventually, if the game goes long enough, already farmed, of course he's going to probably want to put some items on himself first, but Aghanim Scepter's first targets.
Not Gyro.
I was thinking, well, obviously Gyro wouldn't be first, but it's not actually that bad because of the pushing power.
I would give it to Rubik.
Yeah, Rubik would probably be my number 1. His Limp's going to take the Dismember.
Rubik, then Shaker.
So Rubik, Shaker's isn't really that good. I mean, Darkseer scales really well into late game. It increases the damage, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but the illusions they get of the CIS Rejects team are not really that good.
That's a good point.
So
there's no like agility right clicker.
There's no agility right clicker. Tiny can be strong when he gets Ags and gets some more strength, so that the illusion hits harder. But it's not.
Hey, Rubik is a clear number 1, no doubt about that.
Rubik for sure. Yeah, it's that order.
Does Calldown change anything other than global? What else does it do?
I think the second missile deals extra damage.
Oh,
that's how I remember it.
Okay, I thought it might. If it affected the cooldown as well, that might be something that people would consider picking up. Winter's Curse, Dismember, double ultimates used, and it's not even do any damage. His Pudge just drops to his death. Vanscore in the meantime taking a Fissure, and it's going to cost them 2 deaths in the end. So Tiny on his way to the battle. Hanskin's just going to TP away in the trees. Darkseer takes a Gale and the Poison Nova. Has Surge in a moment, but looks to be dead.
This is a big kill streak as well.
Death Prophet takes it. 773 gold for him.
He's getting, again, I think I've said this 5 times this cast now. Death Prophet is getting quite a bit of farm in this game.
Good to know, thank you.
He's doing very well for himself.
Well, Blink Dagger, what do you think of Blink Dagger on Era? So he went that after the Battle Fury.
It's
So
nice.
looking to engage, and it looks to be a Solar Crest in the making as well. It has the medallion right now. So he wants to fight a lot.
It's good with Vacuum. It allows him to position himself to combine it with Vacuum a lot easier. So he can pull them together for the AoE concoction. This is just a chaotic game, so having mobility, being able to catch the enemy team off guard is great.
Fissure, Rocket Rush, he's blocked off one way or another. You're too fat to get through there, my friend. Oh, he's gonna get healed up a bit. The call down is there as well. And bye-bye. I mean, that's the beauty about Gyro. May not have the best ultimate in the game, but it has such a low cooldown. You can just put it out whenever. Quite effective in the end.
And of course, as we're seeing there, compared to a lot of other carries, just the mixed damage is great. Having both good magic and good physical damage makes it a lot harder to itemize against a hero like Gyro, where, you know, in a situation like that, many of the physical damage carries just might have to be cautious with going for Tiny there.
Right.
In case he gets Avatos up, but Gyro can go through it.
Blink Dagger now on Venomancer. I actually think he had that in the last engagement, but either way. He's gonna find the Gale on Handskin. Pudge is gonna hook. Eat him, eat him! He gets Enchant Totem into the Echo Slam. He does have haste. He's gonna walk away. Of course, he's gonna take a ton of damage from that homing missile in the end. Goretz pops the ultimate, taking quite a bit of damage himself. He's gonna be brought down so fast. At the last second heal, but the call down again being used to full effect. Winter's Curse on Jonas and Fane is going to be taking a lot of damage from Limp, and the hook finishes him off, although Pudge dies shortly after. An ultra kill for Limp on the Gyrocopter, who's just dominating this game. Arts goes invisible, but it's not going to last, and down he goes.
I swear. The
Darkseer committed suicide.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. The... Oh, what's it called? Winter's Curse is just...
Oh, I see.
Very bugged right now with who it gives the kill to.
Yeah.
Pudge killed him with Hook. That should be a kill for Wyvern. I know there's a bug so that if Rubik steals Winter's Curse, then whatever Winter's Curse is on the map is considered Rubik's. So if he had stolen it there, and the Darkseer dies, it would have been denied by Rubik. But that's not what happened this time.
That before. Okay,
so Pudge actually hooked him. That was just a clean kill. I have no idea how that's a suicide. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Very strange, and you know, it's kind of one of those situations where, like, if it happens in the pub game, you're just like, what the hell? But in this kind of game, like, if that happens in competitive, it's a difference in a gold swing of that right there would have been a 2K gold swing probably, or 1500. Yeah. Because instead of it not going to CIS Rejects and NiP losing there, they would have got at least a decent kill bounty for that. Okay, 1,000 is probably a little bit of an exaggeration, but you get the idea.
First you said 2,000.
Yeah, then I realized that's too high. Then I went a little lower, and then I realized, okay, it's probably still too high. We're not playing...
I mean, it wouldn't have been game-breaking.
We're not playing 683 anymore.
Yeah, that's for sure. That was a fun time in the history of Dota, for sure. BKB now on Gyrocopter going a little bit of a defensive route, can fight a little bit more. Of course, he did end up getting the Ultra kill, so ton of gold going his way. Darkseer has the point booster. And looks like we might have another engagement here. Always want to fly, gets caught out. Can he get the Poison Nova off? No! Pudge hooks the wrong target. Limp, that is not the guy you want to fight against, although he can't stun you quite yet. But luckily for him, does have enough damage to finish him off. So it's 2 for nothing. And NiP's just going to push this way, as they do have Aegis to work with.
How long did it take after I said CIS Rejects were doing pretty well until they lost every fight?
That was a little bit longer this time. It was about 7 or 8 minutes, I think.
I feel like I'm watching the same game again with just totally different heroes.
He's quite fast, but not fast enough for the telekinesis to hold him in place. Negative earn charge. One more spell should finish him off, although the negative earn charge might be enough, in fact. He's going to TP out and die during the process. Art's trying to help out his teammate. But this might cause his death as well. So Art's on the run with a negative earn charge as well. Has a toss, could potentially toss Handskin away. Goes invisible thanks to the Shadow Amulet.
Radiant's middle tower is being
attempting to TP out the enchantment. Doesn't hit him, but enough damage from Handskin to take off his head. And just like that, it's 3 for nothing. Always want to fly. Gets off the Poison Nova. BKB popped by Gyrocopter. Into the call down again. We've seen so many of these beautiful call downs. Pudge going to be the last remaining member of CIS Rejects alive, but not for long. Era, he's going to drop, but of course has Aegis, doesn't really care. Actually, he's not gonna. He's going to pop Chemical Rage and just heal back up. Lovely hero, that Alchemist. Midrax is gone. Buyback from Wyvern. Still has Winter's Curse to work with.
You could kill Limp with it, maybe.
has fallen.
Well, he starts off with the Splinter's Blast, but it's going to end up being a full racks here for NiP as Vanscore trying to be a little defensive, but gets caught off guard, and there's the Winter's Curse, but he drops dead of his own accord.
Didn't really do much. They just pull
NiP on the run and
back here, 20k lead all of a sudden. So
yeah,
it's weird how this happened. I feel like I said before, it's the same as game 1, where CIS Rejects actually do a really good job. This time it happens a bit earlier in the game. Their mid-game execution and decision-making is just not very good. NiP are just moving better as a unit, not getting outnumbered as much, and they're also just hitting their spells better. I think there's been quite a few Avalanche toss combos from Arts that haven't really connected as they should. And Goritz might die here.
Gets off the Yules. Gale, help from Always Wanna Fly. Silence coming into play as well. And I hear an Exorcism, but can he catch anybody is the question. Iceberg trying to dismember, but Era just destroys his face. Goritz stuck in a rock, between a rock and a hard place. Exorcism doing quite a bit of damage, but the damage in turn is too much for him to handle. Is he going to die again from negative earn charge? That's the second negative earn charge kill this game on the same target. Arts, is this going to be a third? Shadow Amulet's up. They put down the Sentry and the Fissure stolen. But the Fissure from Earthshaker himself is enough to take out the kill. So 4 dead. Wyvern on the run. This should be GG. It's a full team wipe for NiP. Looking really good as they ensure #1 in their group.
Yeah, they do. They
Pretty
must
impressive.
have 3 wins and a draw. Is it?
Yeah,
I think so. They get 10 points, right? Yeah, 3 wins and a draw. And the only team they lost 1 game to was Monkey Business, and that was the. I believe I cast that game, I think, and yeah, I did cast the game with Owen, and they went. They got just outmaneuvered by Split Push, and then the second game they got to play more of a team fight game, which they are really good at, and managed to beat Monkey Business in a pretty close game too there. So yeah, they're looking pretty good. I think it might be. Who's the favorite going in? We know all 4 teams now, right? So it's NiP, Monkey Business, or unless Monkey Business get 2-0'd.
That one's not 100%.
That's not confirmed yet. Okay.
So we have a last-ditch effort from CIS Rejects. BKB popped by Limp. Call down again, getting multiple targets, and CIS Rejects is dropping like flies. Death Prophet, the last remaining member. But for how long? His GG's come out, he's getting chopped down, Limp, fountain diving, and away we go. So good game to NiP as they ensure #1, as we talked about, 51-16. That just came out of nowhere. They weren't up that far.
40k gold lead when they end.
That's insane.
Alchemist though, right? You win a couple of fights and you farm when the enemy heroes are dead, and you just skyrocket in GPM. But let's say the most likely outcome of the other match is probably that Monkey Business take at least 1 game. They just need a draw.
Most likely, yes.
So let's say that happens, then NiP and Monkey Business from Group B